Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. So I am Ronaldin Verdida Monteveros, BE Ed 3B, and I will going to discuss the last chapter, the chapter 8, together with Miss Marjorie Distaho, which is all about the grading system and the grading system of the Department of Education. So let's go. Okay, so let us first have our learning outcomes. So first, distinguish between norm reference and criterion reference grading, and the second one, explain the importance of the grading system in the grading system of the Department of Education. Okay, so I will be tackling today the five topics that is assigned to me, which is all about the non-reference grading, criterion reference grading, four questions grading, what should go into a student's grade, and standardized test scoring. So that will be the content of our discussion today. Okay, so before we're going to start, so my question dito. So, why do we need to assess students' performance? So, bakit nga ba kailangan na i-assess natin yung students, yung performance natin mga students? Okay, so here's the answer. Because it is assessment of the student's performance is essentially knowing how the student is progressing in a course and incidentally how the teacher is also performing with respect to the teaching process. So, yun. Kailangan na i-assess natin yung student's performance for them or for us to know as a teacher to know if may progress ba yung ating mga students. So, of course, the students also will know kung ano ba sila sa klase. So, and at the same time, ang teacher is malalaman din niya kung yung naging performance niya is naging okay din ba. So, kasi nga, magkasama talaga yung dalawa. Yung, kung halimbawa, si teacher is mabuti yung or maayos ang kanyang performance in the class or magaling si teacher magturo, of course, the students will be also progressing in the um, class. So, next. So, assessment of the students' performance, merong dalawa. Si students' progress and the teacher's performance. So, magkasama talaga yan. Okay, so we have here steps in assessment. First, testing. So, in testing, pencil, paper, objective test, performance-based and testing procedure. Sa testing naman, dito mapapasok yung quizzes, um, outputs, yung the formative assessment kung um, how we're going to uh, test the understanding of our students. Next is the number two, the grading. So, it is a decision to grade the performance of the students. So, ito na yung pagkakataon na si teacher mag-decide na kung paano ba niya i-grade yung student. Okay, next. So, in their in the grading system of the America, for instance, grades are expressed in terms of letters like A, B, B plus, B negative, C, C negative, and D, or what is referred to as a 7-point system. While on the other hand, in the Philippine colleges and universities, the letters are replaced with numerical values, just like 1, 1.25, 1.50, 1.75, 2.0, 2.5, 3.0, 4.0, or an 8-point system. So just like here, so sa atin dito sa the BSMSCAT. So, di ba yung grading system dito sa the BSMSCAT is just like this. Yung grade natin is nakasulat siya in just like 1, 1.5. So, meron ngang 5. So, in the basic education, grades are expressed as percentage of accomplishments such as 80% or 75%. So, sa basic education, ito yung elementary grades and the junior high and senior high school grades. So, yung grades nila doon is naka-percent. So, yun. Okay, so let us now have the norm reference grading. So, ano ba itong norm reference grading? Okay, so in the norm reference grading, norm reference grading refers to a grading system where a student's grade is placed in a relation to the performance of a group. So in this system, a grade of 80 means that the students perform better than or same as 80% of the class. So take note, that in the norm reference grading, yung grade ng mga students is may relation to the performance of the group. Performance of the group. So, nakabase yung grades ng students based sa performance ng buong ng class. Okay, so let's take this example. So, in this example, so consider the following two sets of scores in an English class 1 for two sections of 10 students each. So, in the class A, so may mga row scores dito na 30, 40, 50, 55, 60, 65, 70, 75, 80, and 85. So, yung highest score nila doon is, sa class A is 85. While in the class B, the row scores nila is 60, 65, 70, 75, 80, 85, 90, 90, 95, and 100. So, in the section A, since there only have the 10 students, so um, score, since the 80% of uh, the mean score of the class is 75 in the class A, while in the section B, ang mean score nila is 90. So, kung mapapansin natin, yung dalawang row scores na yan, mas mataas yung class B, yung section B. But, pagdating dito sa, kung i-equivalent na natin siya, yung 90% is equivalent only of the 80%. So, while in the section A naman, yung 75 na mas mababa sa 90 is equivalent, ang equivalent din niya is 80%. So, if the test used for the two class are the same, it would be rather unfair system of grading. So, paano naging unfair? Kasi nga, balikan natin yung previous example. So, kasi nga, kung the same lang yung test na ibinigay ni teacher sa dalawang section, since yung section A matataas yung mga grades nila, and in the section B, sasabihin natin na mas mababa ng konti. So, pero pagdating in equivalent of the percentage, the same lang yung dalawa. So, kung ako si section B, mas pipiliin ko na o mas gugustuhin ko na in the next school or in the next school year, doon ako gusto sa section A. Since kahit na yung score mo is mababa kaysa sa section B, yung equivalent niya is the same pa rin. So, there will be an unfair system of grading. So, the previous example illustrates one difficulty with using a norm reference grading system. So, this problem is called the problem of equivalency. Okay, so, ano ba yung advantages and disadvantages ng norm reference grading? So, the advantages of the norm reference grading, first, it is very easy to use. Second, it works well for the course with retention policies and its limits only few students to advance to the next level. And the disadvantages of the norm reference grading, the performance of the students is not determined by his achievement, but also the achievement of the other students. And it also promote competition rather than cooperation. So, kasi nga, kung mapapansin ninyo, kung ako yung student, kung halimbawa, ako yung student, gusto ko na mas lamangan ko yung other 85% na mga kaklase ko para makapasok ako dun sa highest percentage. So, imbes na i-encourage natin yung ating mga students na nakipag-cooperate with their peers, so it causes competition to the class. Okay, so the next one, the criterion reference grading. So, in the criterion reference grading system are based on a fixed criterion measure. There is a fixed target, and the students must achieve that target in order to obtain a passing grade in a course regardless of how the other students in the class perform. In the criterion reference grading, there is a target or there is a fixed target. There is a fixed target grade para na dapat makuha ng student para ma-obtain nila yung passing grade. Okay, so let's take this example. So in the class of 100 students, no one might get a grade of excellent if no one scores 98 above or 85 above, depending on the criterion used. Okay, so 1.0 or excellent equivalent to 90 to 100 or 85 to 100. 1.5 or good, 85 to 97 or 80 to 84. 2.0, fair siya. So, 75 to 87 or 70 to 79. And 3.0, poor or pass. So, 65 or 74. Or in the other criteria, 60 to 69. And 5, failure, below 65 or below 60. So, dito sa 3.0, unconditional siya. Conditional siya. Okay. So, if the teacher give a passing score of 50%, then the students must get a passing grade. So, in a class A, the highest score of the students got 95. Then the equivalent of or the criterion reference grade is 97.5. So, in the class B, the highest score of students got 90. The criterion reference grade is 95. So, paano naging 95 yung class B? So, paano siya kinumpute? So, ito yon. So, 90 divide 100 times 50 plus 50 equals 95. So, note that in the criterion reference grading system, the students can help a fellow students in a group work without necessarily worrying about lowering his grade in that course. So, with criterion reference grading, a rich learning typographical error. So, environment, yeah. A rich learning environment is to everyone's advantage. So students are rewarded by contributing to the class and small group discussion. Okay, so next we have the 4 questions in grading. So ano meron sa 4 questions in grading? So, si Marinella D. Paano ba siya basahin? Vinexky of the Center for Teaching Effectiveness of the University of Texas and Austin poses 4 intriguing questions relative to grading. So, the 4 questions in grading are: first, should grades reflect absolute achievement level or achievement relative to others in the same class? The second question is, should grades reflect achievement only or non-academic components such as attitude, speed, and diligence? The third question, should grades report status, achieve, or amount of growth? Number 4 questions, how can several grades on diverse skills combine to give a single mark? So, those questions will be answered in the next topic. Okay. So, what should go into a student's grade? So, dito na papasok yung apat na tanong, yung nasa sa 8.4 na content. 8.3, I mean. Okay. So, should grades reflect absolute achievement level of achievement relative to other in the same class? So, in the 4 questions of the grading, okay, so this often referred to as the controversy between norm reference versus criterion reference grading. So, in norm reference grading, the grade measured by the student is based on her standing in class. So, evaluator has a little additional information about what a students actually know. So, in norm reference grading, we all know that this grading system, the letter grade of a student received is based on his or her standing in class. So, a certain percentage of those at the top receive A's. A specified percent of the next highest grades receives B. Thus, the outside person looking to the grades can decide which students in that group perform best under those circumstances. So, such a system also takes into account circumstances beyond the student's control, with which might adversely affect grades. So, here's the factors that affects grade. First, poor teaching. Second, bad tests or unexpected problems arising for the entire class. So, on the other hand, um, another controversy that is often referred to this question is the criterion reference grading. So, the grade is being measured by the student's actual performance. So, the evaluator knows only that the students have reached a certain level of or set of objectives. So, in this case, the instructor sets standards standards of performance against which the student's actual performance is measured. So, all students achieving a given level receive the grades assigned to that level regardless of how many in the class receive the same grade. An outside evaluator looking at the grade knows only that the students has reached a certain level or set of objectives. So, yun yung sinasabi ko kanina. So, the usefulness of that information to the outsider will depend on how much information he or she is given on what behavior is presented by that grade. So, the second problem is that in the criterion reference grading does not provide selection or yes, sorry, hindi ko na-mention yung first problem. So, the first possible problem that occurs in the criterion reference, those discussed under norm reference might influence the entire class and performance may drop. And the second problem is that criterion reference grading does not provide selection information. There is no way to tell from the grading who the best students are, only that certain students have achieved certain levels. Whether one views this as positive or negative will depend on one's individual philosophy. So, walang exact grade yung or hindi individual yung pag-grade ng teacher in the criterion reference grading, in the criterion reference grading. Okay, so number 2 question. Should grades reflect achievement only or non-academic components such as attitude, speed, and diligence? So, it is very common practice to incorporate such things as turning in assignments on time into the overall grade in a course, primarily because the need to motivate students to get their work done is a real problem for instructor. Okay, so the primary problem with such inclusion is that it makes grades even more ambiguous than they already are. So, okay, so also it may be appropriate to the selection function of the grading that such values as timeline and diligence be reflected in the grade. So, external user of the grades may be interpreting the mark to include such factors as attitude and compliance in the addition to competence in the material. So, there are two steps instruction should take. So, first, instructor should take. Okay, number 1, to make students aware of this possibility well in advance of grade assessment or assignment. Number 2, to make clear what behavior is included in such qualities as prompt completion of work and neatness of completeness. Okay, so number 3 question. Should grades report status, achieve, or amount of growth? So, in many beginning classes, the background of a student is so varied that some students can achieve the end objectives with little or no trouble, while others with weak backgrounds will work twice as hard and still achieve only half as much. So this dilemma result from the same problem as the previous questions. That is the feeling that we should be rewarding or punishing effort or attitude as well as knowledge gain. So the positive aspect of this knowledge is that much of the uncertainty which only accompanies grading for students is eliminated, since they can plot their own progress toward the desired grades. The students have little uncertainty about where they stand. Okay, so number 4 questions. How can several grades and diverse skills combine to give a single mark? So, So, the basic answer is that they can't really. The result of the instruction are so varied that the single mark is really a Rube Goldberg doing something by an unnecessary completed means what could be done simply as far as indicating what the students has achieved. It would be most desirable to be able to give multiple marks on for each of the variety of skills which are learned. So therefore, it is worth our while to see how that can be done, even though currently the system does not lend itself to any satisfactory answers. So it would be complicated and already complicated task. So the halo effect of the good performance in one areas could spill over into others, and most outsiders are looking for only one of it, so they can face the results. Okay. In the 8.5, which is about the standardized test scoring. Okay, so ano ba sa standardized test scoring? So, test standardization is a process by which teacher or researcher made tests are validated and items analyzed. After a thorough process of validation, the test characteristics are established. So, we have here three characteristics include. So, first, the test validity, test reliability, and test difficulty level. So, in the standardized tests are psychometric instruments whose scoring system are developed by norming the test using national sample or test takers, shortening the scoring formula to assure that the likely score distribution describes a normal curve when trapped, and then using the resulting scoring system uniformly in a manner resembling a criterion reference approach. So, example sa standardized test is yung INCAI, the NAT, LET, LET exam. So, yan yung example ng mga standardized test. Okay. So, that will be the end of my assigned topic. So, thank you for listening. So, the other part or the next part will be discussed by Miss Marjorie Distajo. Have a good day. Bye.